Thank you for joining us today here on the Bible Stands on this Thursday. And today I'd like to go to a very familiar passage, but I think it's one that we need to remind ourselves of. The Apostle Paul was speaking on very open and personal terms here with the people at Philippi. This church had been living in revival and had really been concerned about Paul's needs. They were themselves going through financial crisis. We find that in 2 Corinthians chapter 8. They were really facing a deep depression financially, and yet they were sacrificial in their giving. They were the one church that really cared about Paul having enough so that he could function in the ministry. And as he's thanking them for that and talking about what God was going to do for them because of that, and that he wasn't requesting that from them, but he was grateful, he does make that very important statement in verse 11 of chapter 4. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. What a statement. Folks, we need to be willing to say day by day, in whatever state I am, I'm content. Whether things are scary, whether things are peaceful, whether finances look good, or the financial future looks bleak, personally or nationally. Whatever the state is of our situations that we are involved in our own set of circumstances, whatever it is, we are willing to be content. Sometimes we don't have much, we're abased. Sometimes it's just a good period of life and abound. We need to thank God for both. And whether we're full or whether we're hungry, we need to be thankful. And I think, friends, that's one of the best ways to stay encouraged. If we're only encouraged when things go well, we're going to be quite disappointed and discouraged much of the time. And if we set that as our standard for fulfillment, we're going to be in real trouble as a believer and not be able to grow, let God change our lives, to be able to utilize the trials for His glory, to use that to reach people. Instead, we're going to be very self-focused and we're going to be riding a spiritual roller coaster. The Apostle Paul at times had great times, and other times it was great suffering. And yet he was focused on the cause and he wasn't going to give up. And one of the keys was that he was living contented in the situations that God had allowed in his life. I just want to encourage you, friend, today. Don't be frustrated because the political situation. Don't be frustrated as you see some of the great insecurity of what's happening on the international front. These are very real problems. But this has been the way it's been. And we need to be very happy about whatever God allows us to do and whatever God allows to occur in our lives and those around us. And God is able to work through each set of circumstances and accomplish His purpose. Life, when measured by a walk with God, can always be good. Life measured by circumstances will be a roller coaster. Oh, may God help us to stay encouraged and contented in the Lord.